Are you tired of feeling like your stomach has its own agenda? Like the bloating, gas, or constant trips to the bathroom are running your life? Welcome to the Beyond Bloated podcast, the podcast where we tackle those frustrating gut issues head on, without strict diets or giving up your favorite foods. I'm Carly, a certified gut health coach who's been there, struggling with bloating that made me look 6 months pregnant, gut pain that kept me from enjoying meals, and fatigue so draining it felt impossible to get through the day. Now, I help women like you find freedom from those symptoms and take back control of their lives. Each week, we'll debunk gut health myths, dive into simple, actionable tips, and hear stories from women who've been exactly where you are. It's time to feel confident, energized, and bloat-free. Let's get started. Today, we're getting a little controversial. I don't usually get controversial because people can be very rude when you have an opinion on anything. However, I think this is important because I have been asked in the past many times about my input or my take on fasting, especially for women with digestive issues. And I do have strong opinions about it. And it's not just my opinion. My opinions are also based around science and research and my own experience working with clients. I do not use extreme measures in my program because it's not necessary. I did extreme measures for many years in my own gut health journey, and it was very stressful, and it ultimately did not get me the results I was looking for. So anything extreme, like don't eat for 24 hours, is not something I'm going to promote to anybody. And in today's episode, I am going to tell you why that is. Today, I am going to talk about the evidence, the impact on women's hormones, some of the potential risks, and some practical alternatives to fasting if by the end of this episode you decide it's not for you. So let's get into it. Let's start off with discussing what is fasting and why is it so popular? One of the most common phrases you'll hear is intermittent fasting. And what that is just an eating pattern that cycles between periods of eating and fasting, aka not eating. Rather than focusing on what you eat, it focuses on when you eat. The idea is that you limit your food intake to a very specific window of time, giving the digestive system a quote-unquote break, and allow your insulin levels to drop in between meals. There are several different types of intermittent fasting. So one of the most popular and common types is the 16-8 method. So in this method, you fast for 16 hours, and then you eat within an 8-hour window each day. So for example, you eat between noon and 8 p.m., and outside of that window, you don't eat. This is probably the most popular form and often what people think of when they hear intermittent fasting. Similar to that, there's the 14-10 method. This is basically a gentler version of the 16-8 because you're fasting for 14 hours opposed to 16, and you're eating within a 10-hour window opposed to 8. So in this method, you could eat between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. and then not eat outside of that window. Many people, women, do this naturally without even realizing that they're doing intermittent fasting. For example, I typically eat for the first time around 8:30, and then I don't usually eat after dinner at like 6:30. So I kind of do a 14-10 method naturally. It's not extreme. It's just eating breakfast in the morning when you wake up and not eating after dinner. A more extreme fast is the 24-hour fast. So basically, you fast for a full 24 hours once or twice a week. For example, from dinner one day to dinner the next day, you don't eat. This is very extreme in my opinion, and I do not recommend that for anyone with digestive issues or hormonal imbalances. If you are a woman who cycles, this is hard on the body. I'll get into that later. Don't recommend it, but you could do it. And then there is the 1 meal a day fast, otherwise known as OMAD. This is, as the name suggests, it involves eating just 1 meal a day within a 1-hour window each day, and then you don't eat or you fast for the other 23 hours in a day. This is extremely restrictive form of fasting, and it can be very stressful on the body, especially for women, and especially for women who cycle. So again, don't really recommend it. I'm going to get into why. Those are some of the most common forms of fasting. When you hear the term fast, you kind of just think don't eat, but there are different ways you can do it. For example, the 14-10 method is pretty gentle and something people just kind of do naturally without even thinking about it. Whereas a 24-hour fast is very extreme in the sense that you literally don't eat for 24 hours. So there's varying forms of fasting, and it's not just like a blanket term meaning the same thing for everybody. Intermittent fasting has gotten very popular over the past decade, and I think it is because it's very simple. You don't have to change what you are eating to fast. You just change when you are eating. Instead of having to think about like, what do I eat? What's healthy? Spending money on food, you just don't. So I think that appeals to people. There's no complicated diets involved, and it doesn't require counting calories or anything of the sort. You literally just change when you eat, not what you eat, how much you eat. So it kind of appeals to a lot of people in that sense. Here are some other big reasons why fasting is trendy and popular among wellness people, people trying to lose weight, people trying to ditch their bloat, improve their gut health, all the things. So on the topic of weight loss and burning fat, fasting is often marketed as a very easy way to burn fat because you are lowering your insulin levels and increasing the time spent in a fasted state. Some people do see rapid results early on, especially if they were previously snacking constantly or they were overeating, they were eating all through the day. Fasting can help them lose weight, burn fat. And there's the longevity and anti-aging aspect. Research in animals and a few small human studies suggest that fasting may support cellular repair, reduce inflammation, and activate autophagy, which is a process where the body clears out your damaged cells. So this has led to very bold claims about fasting extending a person's lifespan. For digestive reset or detox, there's a common belief that if you give your gut a break from food, that can reduce bloating, improve digestion, or reset your microbiome. Some sources suggest that fasting can help the gut heal itself, but these claims are very oversimplified and not well supported for women with digestive issues. Going to touch on that in a minute as well. For blood sugar control and insulin sensitivity, some studies do show that fasting may help improve insulin sensitivity and stabilize blood sugar in certain people, especially men or those with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. This makes it very appealing for people who are trying to improve their metabolic health, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Stay tuned for that. Some people also report feeling more focused and having more energy while they're fasting. This is likely due to more stable blood sugar and increased adrenaline, not just because they aren't eating food. This has made fasting very popular in high performance or biohacking circles. You know, if I don't eat, I have energy and I can think better. And for some people, there is a trend around mimicking how our ancestors lived. It's also a thing with the carnivore diet, people claiming that that's how our ancestors lived, so we should just eat meat. Hey everyone, Carly here. If you are tired of feeling bloated and uncomfortable, which I know you are, I have something that can really help. My free ultimate guide to bloat busting. I've been there myself, and I know how frustrating it is to try super restrictive diets and expensive supplements without getting results. If those methods were going to work, they would have worked by now. That's why I created this guide to offer you a different approach. In the ultimate guide to bloat busting, you'll learn techniques to listen to your body and eat with intention, avoiding overeating and choosing foods that truly benefit you, tips for proper hydration to support digestion and reduce bloating, a guide to delicious foods that promote a healthy gut and how to easily incorporate them into your meals, and effective methods to manage stress, which plays a huge role in gut health. These simple, practical strategies can make a big difference in your daily life, helping you feel lighter,
more energized, and comfortable in your own skin. Ready to ditch the bloat without strict diets or costly supplements? Download your free copy today at beyondbloated.com/ultimate-guide and start your journey to a bloat-free life. Now, let's get back to it.
Same goes for fasting, eating less frequently, avoiding processed foods, living in sync with circadian rhythms. Fasting does fit that narrative, and many people believe it aligns with a more natural lifestyle, and that's how we're supposed to be eating. So for the people who want to live more natural and like our ancestors, they might think fasting is the way to go. So that all sounds fine and dandy if taken at face value, but there's a catch. Most of these benefits have been studied in men, postmenopausal women, or animals. For menstruating women or those with digestive issues, the stress of fasting may do more harm than good, especially when done daily or for very long periods of time. And I'm going to prove it to you by stating some studies that show just that. To start, a 2021 review published in Obesity Research and Clinical Practice noticed that up to 80% of intermittent fasting studies are conducted on men or male animals. Additionally, in 2014 rodent studies in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, female rats experienced disrupted reproductive hormones and missed ovulation when subjected to alternate day fasting, while the male rats had improved metabolic markers. Women and men are not the same, not even in rats. So although we often hear about the benefits of fasting and how miraculous it is, the truth is that most of the science behind it does not include women, and especially not women with active hormone cycles. We are very different from men, and women who are actively cycling are slightly different from postmenopausal women as well. We cannot all be lumped into the same category and just generalized as fasting is good. On the topic of the weight loss benefits of fasting, a randomized control trial in JAMA Internal Medicine 2022 study compared intermittent fasting, the 16-8 method that I talked about at the beginning, with traditional calorie restriction. And it found that there was no significant difference in weight loss between the two groups, meaning that restricting your calories like a diet and doing intermittent fasting, the eat within an 8-hour window, there was no difference in the weight loss. But what was different was the fasting group also experienced greater loss of lean muscle mass. So in my opinion, fasting doesn't have some magical fat-burning properties. It mostly works because it limits when you can eat. But that same restriction comes at a cost, especially if you're under-eating or you're losing muscle, which this study showed that they did lose muscle while doing the 16-8 intermittent fasting method. Another study done in 2022 in Nutrients showed that the intermittent fasting could lead to disruptions in menstrual cycles, thyroid hormones, and cortisol regulation in premenopausal women. On top of that, extended fasts can increase cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which can impair digestion and suppress progesterone production. I have talked significantly about how stress and cortisol impair digestion and make it literally impossible to digest your food. Going a long period of time without eating increases your cortisol. That is your stress hormone. That is going to impair digestion. Especially for women with gut issues, fasting is just another stressor on top of everything else you are having to deal with. And when our cortisol is elevated, digestion is slowing down. You guys know by now I am a big fan of eating breakfast, and there is research to back up why. A 2017 study in obesity found that eating a high-protein breakfast within 1 hour of waking improved glucose response and insulin sensitivity throughout the day, particularly in women with metabolic concerns. Skipping breakfast has been shown to increase cortisol levels, reduce your energy, and impair your blood sugar control in women. A study in the Journal of Nutrition has proven this as well. I am not making it up. It is facts. I do not condone skipping breakfast. And if you are intermittent fasting or doing a 24-hour fast, you are skipping breakfast. Cortisol is naturally highest in the morning. That's normal. That is the way it's supposed to be. But when we skip breakfast, that's literally just pouring gas on the fire. Eating within 1 to 2 hours of waking up helps calm that stress response and sets up better digestion for the rest of the entire day. There's something called the migrating motor complex, or MMC for short, and it's basically a wave-like motion that helps sweep bacteria and waste through our digestive tract. It's triggered about 90 minutes after a meal and enhanced by 3 to 4 hour gaps between meals, not by full day fasts. Overly long fasts can actually stall the MMC, especially in women with slow motility or IBS. So if you are someone who struggles with constipation, you aren't going at least one time a day, you have slow motility, and by not eating for a long period of time, that can make your constipation, your IBS, worse. Instead, eating every 3 to 4 hours gives the migrating motor complex enough time to sweep through the digestive tract, do its job, and then you can eat again, and it repeats. That's literally what it is meant to do. But the opposite is also true, where if you are eating every hour, you aren't giving the MMC enough time to do its job. So it is about finding that happy balance of eating regularly, still spacing your meals, but not going too long without eating. In my humble opinion, what helps your gut the most is not skipping food for 24 hours. It's actually consistent rhythms, like eating regular meals at the same time every day, spaced out just enough for your gut to do its job, not too much, not too little. It's about finding that happy middle that makes your gut happy. If you are listening to this episode, it is likely because A, you have digestive issues, and B, you're interested in knowing if fasting will heal your gut. In my opinion, no, it will not. You've probably heard claims that fasting gives your gut a break or even heals your digestive system. But when we look very closely at the evidence, especially for women with gut issues, which is likely you, this idea does not hold up as well as it sounds. It is true that your digestive system is not constantly active. During periods between meals, the gut uses the MMC to clean up leftover food and bacteria, like I just talked about. This cleaning cycle happens every 90 to 120 minutes in between meals, not just during your prolonged fast. You do not need to not eat for this to happen. I'm going to keep saying it. You can go 120 minutes between meals and your MMC will work just fine. You don't need to stop eating for 24 hours to make that happen. There's also no clinical evidence that fasting selectively removes pathogens from your gut without affecting the good beneficial microbes too. Lack of regular food intake can starve your good bacteria, which thrive on fiber-rich meals. A 2020 paper in Cell found that fasting significantly altered the microbiome, and not always in a good way, especially in females, where microbial diversity sometimes decreased. If we aren't eating fruits and veggies and whole grains, the good gut bacteria will starve and die. And if you go long periods of time frequently without feeding them, they will die. Then there's that gut-brain axis that we've talked about in the past to consider. Your gut and your nervous system are very much so connected via the gut-brain axis. And when you fast for too long, cortisol, which is your stress hormone, increases. We've gone over this. This slows motility, increases bloating, and worsens your symptoms like constipation or even diarrhea, especially for women with IBS or SIBO. If your nervous system feels unsafe, your gut is not going to work well, no matter how long you fast. Fasting increases cortisol. That's making you feel more unsafe. Although some men may experience digestive relief during fasting, many women experience the complete opposite. Sluggish digestion, blood sugar crashes, and worsened bloating, and this is because of the hormonal imbalances, low stomach acid, or even slowed transit time that occur because of going too long without eating. Many of us women with gut issues already undereat or skip meals. I have seen this over and over and over again with all the women that I work with in my one-on-one program. Fasting can make those nutrient deficiencies like zinc or magnesium worse, and they are so essential for digestion. In my program, I actually help women eat more. I help them start eating breakfast. I help them not skip lunch. And the success and the progress that they see from that alone is so substantial. We don't eat less, we eat more. We just make it more regular and we balance the meals. Your gut needs regular, predictable nourishment to regulate the stomach acid, bile flow, enzyme production, and even nervous system tone. Your body literally thrives on rhythm. Eating balanced meals at consistent times, getting quality sleep, managing your stress, staying hydrated, those things are going to do so much more for you than a 24-hour fast. Now, even though it sounds like I've been shitting on fasting for this entire episode, I will say fasting isn't inherently bad. There are definitely some benefits for some people, but it is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and it is definitely not a shortcut to healing your gut. For women especially, the smarter approach is to create consistency, regulate your blood sugar, nourish your body, not deprive it by cutting off your food source. I think fasting has been glamorized as this super easy, quick way to just fix all your problems, instead of actually addressing what you're eating, when you're eating, how you're eating, your sleep, your stress, your movement, all the lifestyle factors. People just see it as a shortcut, like, oh, I'll just not eat for 24 hours and I'll be good. It's lazy and it's not what you need. If you want long-term results and you want to actually get to the root, you need to do the deep work. And yeah, it takes work and it's effort and it's hard. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but not eating for 24 hours or even 18 hours is not going to fix all your problems. It's not. I myself never did a fast of an extreme measure throughout my entire 5+ year journey. Like I said, I do kind of just naturally do the 14-10 method of fasting. I don't typically eat after dinner. I'll eat breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking. I wake up around 7:30. I eat breakfast around 8:30. I'll finish my dinner by like 6:30. So I'm already doing that fast, but it's not intentional. I'm not starving myself. I'm not doing it because it's a fast. That's just how my eating patterns are. I never did a 24-hour fast. I never did a 1 meal a day fast. I never did anything extreme. I did a lot of crazy extreme measures, but that was not one of them. I am the type of person who wakes up feeling hungry. If I don't eat within 1 hour of waking, I'm shaky, I'm irritable. I will never, ever skip a meal. I cannot function if I don't have lunch. I will drop everything that I am doing to eat. Eating 3 regular meals a day, plus a snack if I'm feeling hungry, is very important to me. And that is how I healed my gut. I did a lot of other shit along the way, but eating 3 consistent meals, learning how to space my meals properly. So I used to snack all day long, but instead now I space my meals by 3 to 4 hours, fueling my microbiome with fiber-rich foods, a diversity of foods, eating mostly whole foods, staying hydrated, sleeping really well. These things are what will help you most. And trust me, I 100% understand trying to find the missing piece, that one thing that might solve the problem. And I've done almost all of them. No extreme measure is the answer. There is no crazy diet. There is no expensive supplement protocol that will fix all of your issues. It truly is the foundational things, the habits, how you eat, what you eat, all of it combined that will get you the farthest. This is what I work on a daily basis with all of my clients. You can talk to any single one of them. They have all seen massive improvements in their gut health. And we don't do restriction. We don't do extreme measures. We just work on very simple foundational things that people overlook because it seems too simple and too basic. I'm telling you that it's not. That is what you need. That is what's going to get you the results you're looking for. If you want to add some sort of intermittent fasting into your life, I would recommend an overnight fast of 10 to 16 hours. That is generally sufficient. But what's most important is that you are eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You space those meals by 3 to 4 hours so that you are supporting your digestion and allowing your MMC to do its job. I would recommend prioritizing eating your breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking to make sure that your cortisol and your blood sugar are being regulated first thing in the morning. Try not to eat after dinner unless you're hungry. If you had a really early dinner and you're hungry, I don't want you to go to bed hungry. Have a small blood sugar supportive snack, literally a scoop of almond butter. Almond butter on rice cakes with hemp hearts is a good one. A hard-boiled egg, something that's easy to digest, will give you some fuel and also help keep your blood sugar levels stable overnight. If you find that you're waking during the night, especially around 1 to 2 a.m., and you kind of feel awake, it's hard to get back to sleep, that could be a sign of blood sugar dips. And that could be because you're going too long without food. So if that's happening to you, try having that small snack before bed and see if that helps you get through the night. That's what was happening to me. The overnight fast that I was doing was too long. I needed to eat. So I shortened my fasting window by having a small snack before bed some nights, and that has helped my sleep significantly. Overall, I do not believe fasting is evil, but it is also not a magic fix. It is not the quick and easy method that you're looking for. You do have to do the hard work to get the results, especially if you are a woman with gut issues. Fasting can do more harm than good, as I've mentioned throughout this episode. Please do your research and really think about if this is going to benefit you or cause you more harm. Work with someone who can learn your health history, help you decipher if fasting is a good solution for you. If you're working with me, that's not the route we take. I will never tell one of my clients not to eat for 24 hours. Never, ever. So if that's what you're looking for, it ain't coming from me. Ultimately, you just want to tune into your body, listen to what it's telling you. If you are hungry, you should eat. If you are not hungry, don't force yourself. It can be simple, and I don't believe in extreme measures. As I mentioned, I did so many of them throughout my own journey. I'm no longer taking that route, and I'm not going to put that on anyone because it was very stressful and it didn't get me the results I was looking for. So if you want to work with someone who's been where you are, didn't need to do a 24-hour fast, avoids using the extreme measures, I'm your girl. I have helped so many of my clients get the results they were looking for, eliminate their bloat, regulate their bowels, get more energy, and we don't do it in an extremely stressful way. We work on basic things that fit into your life and will get you where you want to go. You can apply to my one-on-one coaching program in the show notes. You can also reach out to me on Instagram at beyond.bloated or send me an email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com, if you have any questions or want to chat further about fasting or my program or anything else. I love hearing from you. And if I don't hear from you then, I'll be talking to you next week. Did you learn something new and useful today? If the answer is a big, resounding hell yeah, do me a favor. Subscribe to this podcast. Even better, toss a rating in there too. It helps more bloated babes discover this show and lets me keep bringing you this free, gut-loving content every single week. And hey, don't be greedy. Share this episode with your bestie who's always unbuttoning her pants after dinner. She will love you even more for it. Thanks for hanging out with me and showing your gut some love. Keep on putting what you learn into practice and you will be bloat-free in no time. Catch you in the next one. Bye.